Nothing is more shocking to the global ARMY public right now than one fact rapidly circulating across various social media platforms. Jungkook was seen landing in Korea with the direct intention of heading to HYBE's headquarters. This sudden trip raises sharp, unanswered questions. What could have made one of BTS's most prominent members feel the need to meet with the very entity that has long been the center of power behind their careers? The question became even more heated when, at the same time, Taehyung made a statement hinting at a major and urgent reason behind the meeting. Is this merely a routine meeting? Or is it in fact a move that could alter the course of the tightly maintained internal relationship? Before we continue, ARMY, are you truly one of us? If you are, prove it now by smashing that subscribe button before you miss the biggest updates ever. Hit subscribe right this second and be the very first to uncover every explosive detail about Jungkook, Taehyung, and BTS. The sight of Jungkook stepping off the plane at Incheon Airport, dressed entirely in black and without conspicuous accompaniment, was enough to trigger a wave of speculation. His pace was brisk, no smile, no glance at the crowd. Some footage from passengers on the same flight even showed that Jungkook engaged in minimal interaction during the trip. The question is, why did he choose to come in person, rather than through a more private and closed communication channel? In the context of BTS and HYBE, such a decision is rarely taken without a very significant reason. Meanwhile, Taehyung sparked a new wave of interpretation when he, in a brief interaction caught on camera, said there was something that needs to be discussed in person, and this can't be postponed any longer. Those two short sentences were enough to ignite fan forums worldwide. ARMY tried to decipher the meaning behind those words. Was this about a music project, a business decision, or something more personal? What made the situation even more intense was the fact that HYBE itself had yet to show any public indication of this agenda. Analysts within the Korean entertainment industry began pointing to several possibilities. First, there was suspicion that this meeting was related to the increasingly apparent direction of independent careers for each BTS member since they entered the phase of individual activities. Jungkook, with his global projects, and Taehyung, with his focus on music and the fashion world, have built their own identities outside the group's umbrella. A meeting with HYBE amid this situation could signal renegotiations or serious discussions about their future. Second, speculation arose that the meeting concerned internal matters involving personal dynamics between members. In recent months, fans have often noticed an unusual distance in some public moments between Jungkook and Taehyung. Although there is no concrete evidence to prove tension, the public has linked those moments to the narrative that there are certain issues that need to be resolved face-to-face. If true, then Jungkook's presence at HYBE could be a crucial step to closing a widening gap. Third, some connected this event to HYBE's grand strategy to expand its global influence. Jungkook and Taehyung, as two figures with an exceptionally strong international fan base, are strategic assets. In this scenario, the meeting might be an attempt to unify visions amid differing priorities between artists and management. But if that's the case, why would the meeting have to be held so suddenly and with such an urgent tone? From the fans' perspective, the entire series of events feels like scattered puzzle pieces with no clear clues. Many believe there is something being kept from the public eye. Several major fanbase accounts on Twitter even posted a timeline showing that a day before Jungkook's arrival, Taehyung uploaded a photo with a short caption considered to be full of code. The caption read, "Time to talk." Is this pure coincidence, or a deliberate signal meant to prepare the public for something to be announced? The absence of an official explanation only fuels wilder rumors. On TikTok, for instance, theories circulate that Jungkook's arrival was linked to the results of an internal meeting that dissatisfied some parties. Others have tied it to unconfirmed reports of a major collaboration plan requiring personal approval between the artist and management. Some fans have even dared to speculate that this could be the beginning of a long-delayed major announcement. However, the biggest question remains, why did Taehyung feel the need to reveal that there was a special reason behind the meeting? Usually, such comments are avoided to maintain the privacy of internal agendas. The fact that Taehyung chose to say it publicly, albeit briefly and vaguely, indicates that he wanted ARMY to know that something important is happening. as if inviting the public to watch the development closely. Looking into the history of BTS's relationship with HYBE, such meetings are not routine. Usually, strategic communication is carried out through managers or specially assigned teams. A direct visit by a member, especially Jungkook, to HYBE's operational center is a rare event. And when this rare event coincides with Taehyung's cryptic statement, the situation automatically becomes a main spotlight. At this point, the public is left waiting, guessing, and watching every new clue that emerges. Will the result of this meeting bring good news that strengthens their position in the industry? Or will it instead spark new controversy that exposes another side of the artist-agency relationship? All possibilities remain wide open. What is certain is that Jungkook's arrival at HYBE is no ordinary visit, and Taehyung's words have ensured that the world will continue to anticipate the answer. It is undeniable that every time Jungkook and Taehyung's names appear in the same public narrative, global ARMY attention immediately focuses. This time, however, the situation is different. Not merely a photo post or an interview clip, but a physical event. Jungkook left his activities, flew to Korea, and went straight to HYBE's headquarters. At the same time, Taehyung made a brief but meaningful statement that quickly triggered a wave of speculation. The question now is no longer what happened, but rather, are we truly seeing the truth, or merely a constructed narrative designed for a certain purpose? It must be understood that the information circulating so far comes from amateur video footage, snippets of public interactions, and interpretations of words spoken by Taehyung. There are no official documents, no direct confirmations, and no structured explanations from the parties involved. So, is the public relying solely on fragments of data that can easily be manipulated? Could it be that this entire event is a communication strategy deliberately arranged to provoke emotional reactions and dominate the global conversation? If we examine the course of these events, one thing becomes clear. The intensity of the drama created is not accidental. The visuals of Jungkook appearing without heavy security, dressed in black, walking quickly. These are visual elements highly effective at building a mysterious image. Taehyung's words, deliberately left hanging without explanation, are the main trigger that set online discussions ablaze. Did these two elements just happen to occur together, or were they strategically orchestrated? We must also consider that the modern entertainment industry thrives on narrative. Every rumor, every speculation, and every moment that stirs mass emotion can be fuel that prolongs a public figure's relevance in an increasingly competitive content market. Is it possible that Jungkook's sudden visit to HYBE is not solely for internal purposes, but also to shape public opinion and gauge market response to issues linked to BTS? If so, the public may unknowingly be part of a complex communication experiment. On the other hand, we cannot dismiss the possibility that this is a real event with significant weight. If there truly is an urgent matter that can only be discussed face-to-face, it indicates a serious behind-the-scenes issue. But how can the public distinguish between authentic events and curated scenarios? Do we have enough data to assess the truth? Or are we trapped in perceptions formed by fragments of neatly packaged information? A critical attitude is key in responding to situations like this. The information we present comes from various sources, from TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter to other online news platforms. Yet all these sources share one thing in common. Their authenticity cannot be absolutely verified. Videos can be cut, photos can be manipulated, and narratives can be directed. Therefore, the question we must ask is, to what extent are we willing to trust unverified information simply because it aligns with our emotional expectations? It should be remembered that the entertainment industry often uses moments of uncertainty as a marketing tool. Every bit of public speculation is free advertising that benefits all parties involved. Could it be that by leaving the public's questions unanswered, HYBE, Jungkook, and Taehyung, whether consciously or not, are prolonging the cycle of attention on their names? If so, do the public feel comfortable being part of this game, or do they feel manipulated? We must also reflect on the psychological dynamics that drive ARMY to immediately react to every piece of information. Does emotional attachment to idols make us more vulnerable to narratives whose truth is unclear? Do we demand clarity for peace of mind, or Do we actually enjoy the tension created by this uncertainty? The worst-case scenario to anticipate is when the circulating information turns out to be entirely fabricated. In a world where fake news can spread faster than official clarifications, everyone has the responsibility to filter information before sharing it. The question is, are we critical enough to hold back from spreading unclear news? Or are we unconsciously part of the chain distributing hoaxes? In this context, skepticism is not a form of disloyalty to idols, but an expression of awareness as consumers of information. We must dare to ask, who benefits if the public continues talking about this Jungkook, HYBE meeting without certainty? Do the parties involved have reasons to keep the news vague so that the public continues to speculate? Army reactions in various countries show an interesting pattern. Some immediately believe this meeting is a pivotal moment that will change the course of their careers. Others are convinced it is merely a covert promotional scenario. These differing views create intense discussion but also open the door to misinformation. In such a situation, shouldn't we prioritize verification before forming an opinion? We may not know the exact answer anytime soon. But what we can do now is keep our distance from narratives built solely on speculation. Asking critical questions, testing information sources, and not letting pure emotion dictate how we assess facts are crucial steps. Let us ask ourselves, are we truly witnessing a significant event in the relationship between Jungkook, Taehyung, and HYBE? Or are we watching a grand stage created to ensure our attention does not drift? Is all this a reflection of reality, or merely an illusion crafted to maintain relevance? In the end, the truth can only be revealed through valid and verified data. Until that time comes, it is wise to regard all this information as a hypothesis that may not align with reality. There is nothing wrong with waiting patiently while observing, rather than rushing to conclusions and getting caught in the current of information that may not be true. The question now is no longer what happened, but did what we know truly happen? And between those two questions, the public must choose to be a critical consumer of information, or merely a follower of narratives shaped by parties who may have certain interests.